These guys have been putting out videos over and over again. One thing I've said to Darth Vader earlier is like, I don't know any president who's gotten so many videos, songs made about him in a positive way. Oftentimes, there's been other presidents like Biden, songs that are made about him is in a negative way. But but Donald Trump has such a strong fan base that you got an entire group of artists making music all about Donald Trump and the love they have for this country. That is something to admire.
Mm-hmm.
You can't overlook that. So let's take a listen. Legal FBI on the t-shirt. So that tells me a lot already. Let's see where this is going. Let's turn this music down.
Number one, I'm closing that border like I had it. We had the best border. We want people to come into our country, but we want them to come in legally.
It's time to put America first and close the border. It's time to put America first and close the border. It's time to put America first and close the border. It's time to put America first. Get your votes in. Patriots come together, yeah, it's time to win. White, black, and brown, all my legal immigrants. We started from the bottom, but we made it cross the fence. Just come the right way if you're coming in. I love my country, I'm ashamed of my government. Stand with Trump, he never broke one promise yet. I wish the left cared about the homeless bet, as they do about illegal immigrants. My skin is brown, I come from the streets. If you want world peace, bring back mean tweets. I feel like 50 tatted Trump. 53 million Mayor Adams, what the fuck?
Yeah.
If you want world peace, bring back mean tweets.
I think I've said this before, like, because of the condition of our society today, Trump is well needed. You can't fix a broken society. You can't go against these supposed enemies of these United States. You cannot address the establishment if you are a nice guy. Nice guy get nothing done. Like Joe Biden gets nothing done. You
can't be a pushover and go against all this stuff that's going around.
Yeah,
you've got to be hard. You've got to be the warrior that people need.
Yeah,
and that's what Trump is. He is that shield for the people.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what we love about him.
And that's what, that's that whole meme that goes around where, he's kind of leaning on his knees and pointing a finger and he says, they're not, you think they're after me? No, they're after you. And I'm just in the way.
That's right. I just happen to be standing in the way. They can't stand that. Let's keep going.
I feel like 50 tatted Trump like Pump. 53 million Mayor Adams, what the fuck? F Zelensky, F Ukraine, F NATO and everybody. We know you got hairy legs, but you ain't got no brain. Trying to flood the border, trying to drown the railway. Put America first and close the border. It's time to put America first and close the border. It's time to put America first and close the border. It's time to put America first. Get your votes in. Patriots come together, yeah, it's time to win. White, black, and brown, all my legal immigrants. We started from the bottom, but we made it cross the fence. Just come the right way if you're coming in. Watch.
Well, I give Biden some credit for telling the truth about what he was going to do regarding the border. He did not lie. He did say, once I become president, I'm going to open the border. So he undid all these policies that Trump had already in place to protect the border. He undid so many of them. I think it's over 15 different ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and that was on day one.
Yeah, the first day. Yeah, he took his little pen and undid everything.
Yeah.
It's crazy. At least we can give him credit for that. He did say he was gonna do it, and he did do it.
Started from the bottom, but we made it cross the fence. Just come the right way if you're coming in. Wash your hands and wipe that dirt from your eyes. Whoa. Chasing freedom got you hurting inside. Yeah. I know it breaks your heart when you hear a Latino say close the border. Close the border. We work too hard for y'all just to come in and try to take it over. It's time to build that wall and build it to the sky. Legal immigrant in a suit and tie. You know, all my life I've been hustling and struggling. Work two jobs, got nothing from the government.
Attention Biden voters, please put your signs back in your yard so the illegals know where to stop for food and shelter. Thank you. The people's voice.
It's time to put America first and close the border. It's time to put.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. What a message.
Mm.
But that's what they've done in New York and many other places. It was so bad that they were the mayor of New York, Mary Eric Adam, was asking for people to open their homes and accept illegals in their homes, and the government was going to financially support you if you were to do that.
Yeah, you can suck an egg on that one, Mr. Adams,
But I don't know
because
why don't they open their home? They got plenty of homes.
and plenty of space in those huge homes. I'm sorry, your homes are much larger than mine
And you're
is.
putting them in it's crazy. They don't live where these issues are. They bring these people and drop them in communities where poor people live. And then they go live in the high hills in their glass house. And they like, yeah. So we lose our schools, we lose our communities, we lose our parks. So you want to take our homes too? What's next, fascist? What's next? Like these people. Anyway.
Shelter. Thank you. The people's voice.
It's time to put America first and close the border. It's time to put America first and close the border. It's time to put America first and close the border. It's time to put America first. Get your votes in. Patriots come together, yeah, it's time to win. White, black, and brown, all my legal immigrants. We started from the bottom, but we made it across the fence. Just come the right way if you're coming in.
Great job on that. Yeah, I mean, you can come in. You just have to come in the right way, just like everybody else who are in this country did that are immigrants. That's all.
Yeah.
Nobody's saying you can't come. You just the idea of you having this access to this country
And
you know,
thinking you're owed free stuff once you get here.
that's crazy, man. To me, is
Sense of entitlement is unreal.
yeah. You know, the other day I was doing a little bit of Bible study. It's about the Gibeonite. Have you heard of? You probably heard of them before. It's
I've
called
heard of them, but it's been a while.
It's been a while,
It's
but
been
it's
a
one,
hot
of those,
minute.
it's one of those studies that I think we need to look at when we're comparing what's happening with the migrants and everything. And I'm in no way saying all migrants are bad. There are some that are coming in who really have good intent and they're trying to look for a better way to make a living and so on. So I don't go out condemning all people, but there's still they should come in legally though. So it's called the deception of the Gibeonites. So these nations, you know, Joshua was on fire at this time. They were like conquering all these different nations. And then when they overcame the Hittites, the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Canaanites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, and so on. So the Gibeonites heard that, you know, the children of Israel were continuing to win these battles. So they decided, how about we come to Joshua, but we're going to make it appear that we are in tremendous need of help, right? What they ended up doing, they got old shoes, look at that, and clouded up on their feet, and old garments up on them. And all the bread and their provision was dry and moldy. So they came with a massive deception. They went to Joshua unto the camp at Gilgal, and then said unto him and to the men of Israel, we be come from a far country, and now take you league with us. Listen to what they're doing. They come in and say, oh, we came from a far country. But surely they were neighbors. They were like not even 2 miles down the road. But they say, we came from a far country, extremely tired and overwhelmed. Please accept us as neighbors. Well, the deception was accepted because Joshua didn't really consider what was happening. He actually accepted them. And they began to become a plague later on to Israel. But many of them ended up becoming slaves. And they would end up serving in the camp and everything else. And the point of the matter is, these men were illegal. They came in with the wrong intent. They could have come in through the right door. They could have come in and said, we want to serve, we want to worship the God of Israel, and we want you to not kill us. We will subject ourselves to the God of Israel. And that would have saved their lives. But instead, they choose to deceive. And I think what's going on here, we are seeing something similar, is that we are seeing people coming in that we don't even know who they are. Some of them were in mental asylums. Their prison have been emptied. Some of them are gang members. You know what I'm saying? So as a result of them coming here, they are committing crimes because they are desperate. They can't work. So whenever you put young men in a country where they cannot work, they will allude to crimes and violence as just a natural thing. You don't give them responsibilities, or you give them a sense of purpose, they will do these things. So I think similar thing happened to Israel as a result of them opening their doors and accepting things. They ended up having trouble down the road. I'm hoping and praying that's not the case in this country, but I think I'm too late about that because trouble is already happening. you know,
Yeah.
and
The troubles have already started. I mean, just look at New York City.
Oh my Lord! I mean,
when you have 3 immigrants who turn around and beat down a police officer and walk out flipping the bird from court, I mean, come on.
What else do you need to know? I think what's his name? Chip Roy. He gave a piece of his mind just the other day. Yeah, I mean, but he was going off on Twitter talking about how many of these people are already here from Islamic nations. He's warning, like, look what happened to Germany. These Islamic nations are coming in. There it is right there. And they're coming in not respecting our laws. They're coming in with the hope of enforcing Sharia laws. They're coming in saying death to America. And the other thing that I also heard that's also troubling, we are not having enough children. Our birth rate has been lowered. We're trying to save the planet, climate change. We don't want to have babies, right? And as a result of that, and that's one of the reasons why Dr. Phil has been speaking so much, because it's like, yo, guys, we're not having enough children. We're dying. We are a dying race. And the black population is even worse. So,
well, you also got to remember we have the fruitiest generation.
The fruitiest generation. So we are the fruitiest generation.
History.
Yeah. So we are the fruitiest generation, but we are canceling them in the womb at the highest rate. No other country has done more than we do. So we have a serious record in that. And at the same time, we're not having enough children. And there's a lot of birth controls. So while this is happening, here's the scary thing. The Islamic nation, the Muslims, they are having 4 to 5 kids per families. So what they're saying, in the next 10 years or so, we should be overwhelmed by the Islamic population. And if they overwhelm, their population increase tremendously, what's going to happen? They can bring whatever laws, they can put whoever they want in politics. They can bring Sharia laws, and in some cases, Sharia laws is trouble.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that people are beginning to realize. Wait a minute, this is not a good thing. It's already happening in Germany, and I'm not trying to leave in that scary thing. Listen,
it's already happening in the UK.
It's happening already. So take a listen to Chip Roy, because you will see what I'm trying to say here, because he's going to say exactly the same thing.
I mean, is anybody paying attention to what's happening in London? I'm going to say it here on the floor of the House to get the scorn of people when I say you've got a massive Muslim takeover of the United Kingdom going on right before our eyes. They would say, Chip, well, what is wrong with that? Well, I've got some pretty strong concerns about Sharia law and whether that'll be forced upon the American people. In this case, the people of the United Kingdom. I've got pretty strong concerns about people who want to see Israel's destruction, who were happy about October 7th, who were elected in the United Kingdom. Some might say that we've seen that here in the United States. What are we going to do about that? We have 51.5 million people who are foreign born in the United States. They have about 20 to 25 million kids. That puts that well over 20-something% of our population. It's the highest such number in the history of our country. People say, well, isn't that great? Is it? Are we teaching people about Western civilization? Are we teaching people about the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the rule of law? Are we teaching them Western values? Are we teaching them God exists? Are we teaching them the importance of freedom? Or are we teaching an entire generation or 2 or 3 to run around complaining about what's wrong and why the entire world is against them because of their skin color, their sex, their supposed gender identity, whatever the hell category we create to make people have an excuse for not just stepping up and achieving the American dream?
I'm telling you, boy.
They're creating an entire generation of victims.
Yeah. And as a result of that, the Islamic nation is just taking advantage of it.
Mhm.
they're just thriving. They don't talk like that. You don't hear them talk like that. It's like we why do we have to be ashamed of our values, ashamed of our God, ashamed of our Constitution, in the name of trying to protect this little group, that little group, intersectionality? Everybody has to be happy. We don't want to step on anybody's toes. In that process, we end up losing everything that we love.
Mhm. And everything that we are
What a
as
shame.
a nation.
What a shame. But I think, just like he said, right? Are we teaching these values to our country? Are we teaching our sons and daughters that God exists? And I think this is where it all started getting bad. I was talking to my son, my 13-year-old, and he's like, when you read the Bible, Jesus in Matthew 22, speaking about how you are to love God with all your heart, mind, soul, and spirit, and love your neighbor as yourself. This is the law of God. And he's like, what do you mean? This is the law of God. I said, well, if you think about it, like when you love God, right? You love God with all your heart, mind, soul, and spirit. You obey the first 4 commandments on the table. And if you love your neighbor as yourself, you will naturally obey the last 6. I said, the reason we love our neighbor as ourselves is because you love God.
Mhm.
And if you don't love God, you don't see the value for those around you. When you love God, then you understand those around you were also created in the image of God. Then you give them value. Well, the problem in this country is that we've rejected God. Oh, we say we don't need no God. We have evolution. We don't need God. You can be atheist, heathen. We can do whatever we want to do. And he's been taught in our colleges and our schools. And over time, what's done begin to happen. We're starting to say to ourselves, if God doesn't exist, well, is there any value for humanity? So we start canceling the children in the womb, right?
Yeah.
We start putting value on animals more than we put on people. We
Yeah.
start putting laws in place to destroy the very nation that God has blessed us with. Why? Because we don't need God. Whenever you don't need God, whenever you reject God, a nation always goes down into this down spiral of corruption, and that's what we are headed. It's heartbreaking because you watch it happening and you wish people will realize what they're doing. It's like, yo, do you see what you're doing to your own people in your own nation? But no, they're fighting the power in the name of fighting white supremacists and patriarchy. But you're killing yourself. You're destroying your own nation. It is so sad. So sad. Anyway.